So we've now moved on to 6A and 6B. We're still working on the parallel and perpendicular stuff. So let's look at 6A. 6A says line AR passes through these points. Okay, so once again, I've got this point and this point. Write the equation. So here we go. This is where we're going to get it gets a little sticky. We actually want to write the full equation. Now, what do we think of when we think of equations of lines? Y equals mx plus b, slope-intercept. So that's our go-to. We want to write the equation of a line that is, and here's that magic word, perpendicular to the line that we're given with these 2 points. And our perpendicular guy is going to pass through this. Okay? Where do we even begin? Well, the first thing is, how do we know 2 lines are perpendicular? The first thing we do is we compare slopes, right? So let's go back and figure out, how do we find the slope of a line? Remember when we talked about slopes, I told you that the slope was the change in y. You've seen this so many times now, over the change in x, which is the vertical change over the horizontal change. Formula-wise, what does that mean? Well, I'm going to give you the formula. So what that actually means is the difference in the 2 vertical coordinates over the difference in the 2 horizontal coordinates. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That is your slope formula. Okay, so now I want to find the new equation of this new line. Well, in order for me to find this new equation, all I know about it is that it's perpendicular to the one I already have. So first of all, I need to know a slope. So let's look at the line I already have. The line I already have passes through these 2 guys, right? Do you remember how all of these are XY coordinates? Remember, I'm going to keep writing that ad nauseum until you get used to it. So this is X1 and this is X2. And we will make this Y1 and that's Y2. That's a Y, by the way. So let's plug these in and find out, what is the slope of my line that I currently have that goes through this A and this R. So I'm going to rewrite the formula. The Y's go on top, guys. The Y's go on top. So Y2 is 10. Y1 is 4. And now let's throw the X's in there. Sorry, I'm having trouble getting my markers closed. They're not cooperating. X2 is -9. And X1 is -5. Now all you got to do is reduce that, and I'm going right to left because I gave you all that slope information. 10 minus 4 on top is 6. -9 minus -5, that becomes a plus a positive, is -4. And when I reduce that, my greatest common factor is 2. That becomes +3 over -2. So my slope is -3 over 2, basically. That's the slope of my original line. Okay? What do we know about perpendicular lines? Perpendicular lines are opposite reciprocal slopes. So since my original line is 3 over -2, which is -3 over 2, my perpendicular's got to be positive 2 over 3, right? So if I come back up to y equals mx plus b, I know my m is 2/3, right? Because I'm looking for a line that's perpendicular to the one I just found the slope for. And remember, perpendiculars are opposite flips. You change the sign and you flip the fraction, reciprocal. So now what is that b going to equal? Well, it tells you that it passes through the point 0, -6. Now if you look on a graph, that is a y-intercept. When the x-coordinate is 0, that means this graph, this point crosses at -6. So it's going to be plus negative 6. So your equation is y equals 2/3 x plus negative 6, or you could write it as minus 6. Let's do the next one. I've got the same thing. I've got a line that passes through these 2 points, A and B, and I'm looking for the line that is perpendicular and passes through this point. Now the difference is here, this is not a y-intercept, so we might have to do something extra. So let's do the slope first. I'm going to find the slope of the original line. Remember, here's my x1, here's my x2, and here's my y1, and here's my y2. So I'm going to set up my slope formula, and I'm going to find the slope of my original line. So here's the slope, which is your m, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You will be provided with this formula on the test, by the way. You don't have to memorize it. It's part of the star formula chart. So the y's go on top. So my 2 y values are 10 and negative 3. And my 2 x values are negative 8 and negative 4. So minus a negative changes to plus, so I have 13 on the top. And then minus a negative also changes, these all change to plus. Negative 8 plus 4 is negative 4. So the slope of my original line is 13 over negative 4. So if I want to find my perpendicular, instead of it being negative, it's going to be positive 4 over 13. Okay, 4 over 13. And I'm going to go ahead and make this a 0 to make this easier. So there's my slope, and remember you've got y equals mx plus b. Okay, so y equals, my m is my slope, which is that positive 4/13, and that's x, plus my b, and I'm going to make this 0, 10, just to make things easier on you. So that means that that's your b, that's your y-intercept, so plus 10. So there's your answer. So that's how you write the equation. Now, if you look at 7a and 7b, those are the other two I'm going to do on this particular video, you're doing equations again, but you have a graph. So you may actually be in a little bit better spot because you have a visual and you have something to work with. So again, line LM passes through these 2 points. First off, that tells you we're probably going to be using slope, right? Line AB, which is a completely different line, is parallel to LM. Okay? And AB has this point. What is the equation of LM? So we're looking for the equation of LM. Okay? Now, if I'm looking at this picture, first of all, what does equation mean? Y equals mx plus b, right? Y equals mx plus b. That's the equation. So y equals mx plus b is the equation. First of all, I can find the slope because LM is on the graph, right? Okay? I think this is a misprint, and I think this is actually asking for AB. So we're going to change it to AB. You know, you catch things as you go. So let's look at this one that's on the graph first. Let's find the slope of this guy. Now you remember, when we're doing slopes, the slope, and again I'll use the same color, and I keep writing this over and over and over again so you keep seeing it. Slope is the change in y over the change in x, which is your vertical over your horizontal, which is also y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we got a lot of stuff there. That's your slope. So let's look at the 2 points you got. You're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have a positive 4 for our vertical change for our slope. because we went up 4. So now let's look at our vertical, our horizontal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I've got a positive 12 change because it's to the right. So if I reduce this, my greatest common factor is 4. My slope is actually 1/3. Okay. So since the slope is 1/3, what is this word we're looking at here? Parallel. Now, if you remember earlier, parallel lines have the same slope. Okay? So I'm looking for a line that also, AB has to have that slope of 1/3. So when I write my equation, I've got to have 1/3 written in here as my slope, because the line I'm looking for is parallel. Okay? Now, where do we know AB passes? AB goes through 9, 5. So let's plot 9, 5. 1, 2, over 9, and then up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so AB goes through this point. So what do we know about AB? It's parallel, which means it has to have what? The same slope, right? So I've got to do this same thing, up 4 and over 12, which is the same thing as going over 12 and down 4. So let's count. I'm going to go over 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I'm going to go down 4 to find my next point. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So my new line is going to go here. That's AB. And where does it look like AB crosses the y-axis? At 2. That's your B. You're done. Okay, so let's look at 7b, and then we will go on to the next video. So let's look at 7b. 7b, same thing, okay? We've got a line that passes through these 2 points. Okay, all right. So I've got LM is shown as the coordinate grid below. RM is parallel to LM. So I'm going to change this. We're going to call this RS. And we're going to call this RS. Again, I'm noticing some errors as we go. And we're going to change this to RS. Just make some things really simple. So first of all, we are looking for a parallel line, okay? We've talked about this so much, I feel like, in the last few minutes. Same slope. So I'm looking for, RS is going to have the same slope as LM. So let's do the slope again for LM. Once again, to make you sick of it, slope equals the change in y over the change in x, which is the vertical change over the horizontal change, which we find by doing this difference of the 2 y's over the difference of the 2 x's, okay? And when you're looking for an equation, you're looking for y equals mx plus b. Okay, so let's find the slope of LM first. So LM, let's do our vertical change, because remember slope is vertical, so I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going up 8. That's positive 8. So my slope has a positive 8 for the vertical change. Now let's look at the horizontal change. The horizontal change, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've got a horizontal change coming over here of plus 10. Okay, so when you reduce that, you get 4/5. So that is the slope I want to have for my new line RS as well, because parallel lines have the same slope. So that 4/5 is going to be part of my equation. So if you have a multiple choice and you have to get rid of any answers, any of them that don't have a slope of 4/5, toss them out. So how do I find the y-intercept of the other line? Well, let's look at the other line. And the other line, it says passes through 5, 7. Okay, so I'm going to go to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's my point. And then I'm going to do the same process for my slope. My slope has to look the same. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have to go over 10, just like I did before. And 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my new line is going to pass through here. And if you look at it, it hits the y-axis at 3, right there. So your B is 3, so there's your equation. And that's how you do the parallel and perpendicular.